Today I will talk about one of the experimental study design, and this is part 3 of my series of lectures on experimental studies. And these lectures are part of my series of lectures on research methodology. This was the lecture outline of part 1 and part 2, my previous two lectures, where I talked about experimental study designs, including Latin square and factorial design. Then I talked about how to do the statistical analysis of study designs. And this present lecture is on crossover design. And this is my lecture outline. First, I will give introduction, followed by nomenclature. Then I'll talk about the analysis of crossover design. The results of the crossover design may be continuous outcome or binary outcome. Then I will give an example of crossover design. We will do manual calculations as well as calculations using R code and Python code. So in a crossover study design, two or more treatments are provided to subjects at different time periods, and the sequence of treatments is randomized for each subject. So let us say we have two sequences. First is A-B sequence, where the capital letter A and B, they denotes treatments. So in first, the sequence of treatment is treatment A in first period and treatment B in second period. In second sequence, BA sequence, treatment B in first period and treatment A in second period. And in between these two periods, there is a washout period. So if we randomize our subjects into either AB sequence or BA sequence, so a crossover design is a repeated measurement design such that each experimental unit, patients or subjects receive different treatments during the different time periods. The patients cross over from one treatment to another treatment during the course of the trial. This is in contrast to a parallel design in which patients are randomized to a treatment and they remain on that treatment throughout the duration of the trial. In crossover study design, the difference in treatments is derived from within subject comparison. Crossover design we do within subject comparison. On the other hand, in parallel design, one subject receives only one treatment. Therefore, the difference in treatments is derived from a between subject comparison. So what are the advantages? The crossover study design removes the inter-subject variability from the comparison between groups, and the effect of covariates can thus be reduced. Crossover design has higher power and statistical efficiency as compared to parallel design. A crossover design could yield a more efficient comparison of treatment than a parallel design. That is, fewer patients might be required in the crossover design in order to attain the same level of statistical power or precision as a parallel design. Intuitively, this seems reasonable because each patient serves as his or her own matched control. So analysis is a comparison is made of each subject's response to different treatments. In case of two treatment, it is A versus B. Crossover designs are popular in medicine, agriculture, manufacturing, education, and many other disciplines. What are the prerequisites in medical science? In medical clinical trial, for to use a crossover design, the disease should be chronic and stable, and the treatment should not result in total cure, but treatment only alleviate the disease condition. So this is a prerequisite. Otherwise, we cannot use crossover design. Crossover designs are the designs of choice for bioequivalence trials also. The objective of a bioequivalence trial is to determine whether test and reference pharmaceutical formulations yield equivalent blood concentration levels. So let us say various terminologies associated with crossover design, sequence and period. The order of treatment administration in a crossover experiment is called a sequence, and the time of a treatment administration is called a period. A sequence should be determined a priori, and the experimental units are randomized to sequences. This we have seen in my previous slide. And typically the treatments are designated with capital letters such as A, B, C, etc. So a 2 by 2 crossover design most commonly is with sequence A, B and BA. It is the most popular crossover design. So these are period 1 and period 2. This is AB sequence and this is BA sequence. Then Balam's design. Some designs even incorporate non-crossover sequences such as Balam's design. Balam's design is unusual with elements of both parallel and crossover design. So what we do here is we have sequences as sequence AB, sequence BA, sequence AA, and sequence BB. So here it is parallel, it is not crossover. And in these two, it is like a crossover. So it has both the components. We will see the utility of this type of design. The main disadvantage of a crossover design is that carryover effects may be confounded with different treatment effects in the sense that these effects cannot be estimated separately. We think that we are estimating the effect of treatment A, but there is also a bias from previous treatment to account for during the same period. The carryover effect is defined as the effect of the treatment from the previous time period on the response at the current time period. So within time period J, for J is equal to 1 to P, it is possible that there are carryover effects from treatment administered during the period 1 to J minus 1 previous periods. Usually in period J, we only consider first order carryover effect, that is from the previous period. There may be effect from various previous periods, and they are known as higher order carryover effects. The incorporation of lengthy washout period in experimental design can diminish the impact of carryover effect. A washover period is defined as the time between treatment periods. The rationale for this is that the previously administered treatment is washed out of the patient, and therefore it cannot affect the measurements taken during the current period. This may be true, but it is possible that previous administered treatment may have altered the patient in some manner so that the patient will react differently to any treatment administered from that time onwards. Then differential carryover effect is when the carryover effect due to treatment A differs from the carryover effect due to treatment B. A crossover design is labeled as uniform within sequence if each treatment appears the same number of times within each sequence. Uniform within periods if each treatment appears the same number of times within each period. For example, A, B and BA is uniform within sequence because in sequence AB, treatment A appear once, in sequence BA, treatment A appear once, and similarly treatment B. It is also uniform within period because in first period there is treatment A in one sequence and treatment B in another sequence. In second period there is treatment B in one sequence and treatment A in another sequence. So Latin squares historically have provided the foundation for R period, R treatment crossover designs because they yield uniform crossover designs in that each treatment occur only once within each sequence and once within each period. A balanced design is a design in which each treatment precedes every other treatment the same number of times, that is once. When this occurs, as in the following design, the crossover design is said to be balanced with respect to first order carryover effect because here B is preceded by A, B is preceded by D, and B is preceded by C. So B is preceded by all other three options of treatment. Similarly, A is preceded by D, A is preceded by C, and A is preceded by B. That is, A is preceded by one's all other treatments. So this is a balanced design. Now, a strongly balanced design. A crossover design is said to be strongly balanced with respect to first order carryover effects if each treatment precedes every other treatment, including itself, the same number of times. So, a strongly balanced design can be constructed by repeating the last period in a balanced design. So, what we do is we add another period where we repeat the same treatment. So, here D is preceded by D, D is preceded by B, D is preceded by A, and D is preceded by C. So D is preceded by both A, B, C, and D, all. A strongly balanced and uniform design. Latin squares yield uniform crossover designs, but strongly balanced design constructed by replicating the last period of a balanced design are not uniform crossover designs. The following four sequence, four period, two treatment crossover design is an example of strongly balanced and uniform design. So there are two treatments, but there are four sequences and four periods, so it became a strongly balanced and uniform design. So how do we do the analysis of a crossover design? So let us see a kind of nomenclature here. So this is the model. So the result is equal to the summation of the treatment effect, the period effect, the carryover effect, and error terms and terms due to various subjects. So this is the model which we assume. So in A, B and BA design, that is 2 by 2 crossover design, we have effect due to treatment, that is treatment effect due to sequence. So this effect is there in first sequence, and we, by nomenclature, we just omit that effect from the last sequence. So here the last sequence is second only, so we have omitted the sequence effect from the sequence BA. And this is the period effect, and we have included period effect in first period in both the sequences, and we have omitted it from the second period from both the sequences. And this lambda A and lambda B, these are carryover effects from the previous period here. So if we want to estimate the difference between treatment A and B, we simply estimate the difference between those effects and these term of carryover. So if we assume that carryover A and B are same, then this term will disappear. So now we have the situation as we have the two treatments and we have three period. And so here we have this as a sequence effect, this as a period effect. So we have two period effects, and from last period we omit both the period effects. So this is by convention, and this is the carryover from first period, and this is carryover from second period. So we can estimate the differences, and there is a sequence effect here which is there. And if we consider the higher order carryover effect, then this term is also added. This is for higher order carryover effect. This is the summary. If the crossover design is uniform within sequence, the sequence effects are not aliased with treatment differences. If the crossover design is uniform within period, then period effects are not aliased with treatment differences. If crossover design is balanced with respect to first order carryover effects, then carryover effects are aliased with treatment differences. If the carryover effects are equal, the carryover effects are not aliased with treatment differences, which we have seen. If the crossover design is strongly balanced with respect to first order carryover effects, then carryover effects are not aliased with treatment differences. So in case of continuous outcome, this is the nomenclature here. And the thing is that to estimate the difference between two treatments, the null hypothesis, it is similar to estimating the difference between the two sequences. So we can use either a pair t-test, I will show you later with an example, or we can use an independent t-test between the results of two sequences. Because if you focus here, the hypothesis as difference between two sequences is similar to the hypothesis as between treatment differences between two treatments. So therefore, we construct these differences for every patient and compare the two sequences with respect to difference using two sample t-test or Wilcoxon's rank sum test. Similarly, for binary outcome, this is the nomenclature, and this indicates that only patients who display either 1-0 or 0-1 response contribute to the treatment comparison, because if an individual is unsatisfactory with both the treatments, then it does not affect the result. And if an individual is satisfied with both the treatment, again it will not affect the result. So only those individuals who display the result as 1-0 or 0-1, they affect the results. And we can use McNemar test also. I will show you with example later on. This is the bioequivalence design, and this is for sample size calculation. This is how we calculate the sample size. Now let us see with an example. So first we will do a pair t-test analysis. So this is I have taken from this article, and here they have recommended that this format should be used for publication. So this is for 2 by 2 crossover design with sequence AB and BA. So we first display the mean and standard deviations of each period and each sequence. Then we calculate the difference, that is intra-individual differences between two treatments. So this is for first sequence and this is for second sequence. And we also calculate the mean of pooled differences, and then we calculate the t-test value as a pair t-test. So let us see this we have done at our institute, this study. There are two modalities of the teaching methods, and these are the students here. In first sequence, we have 20 students, and in second sequence, we have 13 students. The first sequence is BA, the second sequence is AB. We need to calculate the differences BA in both the sequences, and we calculate the mean and standard deviations here. So we also calculate the pooled differences combining both the sequences, and then we calculate the pair t-test. For this data, the pair t-test is insignificant. It means that there is no difference between the two treatments, that is the cinema education and case-based learning. Then let us see the utilization of unpaired t-test. So this is the nomenclature I have taken from this article. This is the formula for the estimation or assessing the significance of carryover effect using independent t-test. And this is the formula to assess the uh, significance of treatment differences using independent t-test. And this is same example, same data. So we do the calculations as these formulas. So accordingly, we calculate, and we found that the t value was 2.6 and it was statistically significant. So in our present example, that is this example, although there was no difference between treatments, there was significant carryover effect. So let us see how to go about when there is binary outcome. So let us say using a Python code here, this is our data. We have subject here, we have the sequence, we have the periods here, and we have the treatments here, we have the response here. So the response is binary here, it is either 1 or 0. So for subject 1 in sequence BA with treatment B, the response is 1, and with treatment A in another period, the response is 0. This is for subject 1. Then similarly for subject 2. So this is how the data is arranged. And we used the stats model package of Python. We have this formula here that response is outcome variable here, and these are the independent variables, treatment, period, and sequence. And this is how we got the result here. It is a model we have used, as you can see here in my code here, it is binomial Bayes mixed GLM. So in interpretation, the model is binomial mixed generalized linear model, and we have these fixed effects here, and the random effect is subject level. Because if you focus here, this is for random effect, the VC formula. Here we have taken it subject variable here. The fixed effect is, that is, the baseline probability is 41%. That is for treatment A. And for treatment B, odds ratio is 3.78. So subjects receiving treatment B have 3.8 times higher odds of outcome than treatment A. And this is a period effect here, which is not significant. And this is a sequence effect here, which is not significant. Now we can apply the McNemar test also for binary response. And I have rearranged the binary data in this form here. Here I have written subjects here. And for each subject, we have response A and response B. The data is same, which I have shown previously, because in that data, let me show you the data. In that data, subject 1 for treatment B has a positive response, and subject 1 for treatment A have a negative response. So let us see, the data is similar. I just have rearranged the data here. For subject 1, response A, it is 0, and response B, it is 1. So this is the stats model. We will use this package for McNemar test here, and it shows that the p-value is significant. So there is statistically significant difference between treatments. So let us see an example in case of a continuous outcome here. So this is using the R code here. These are the R libraries which we will use. So this is how our data is arranged. We have subject, we have response, we have treatment, we have sequence, and we have period here. So this response is the outcome variable, and this is the subject numbers, and these are the sequences. So this is how we calculate. We have used the linear mixed effect model here, and this 1 by subject means it is for random effect, and these are for fixed effect, period, and treatment. And our data is the crossover data here. So this is how we do the calculations, and we found that there was a significant impact of period, and there was no significant difference in treatments. We have a package known as cross carry, and in that package we have a create carry method or function which results in the variable. If we assume that our treatment B is the treatment which we are assessing and comparing with treatment A, so it make another variable, this method create carry, it makes another variable where we need to assess the carryover effect. So we need to assess the carryover effect here in A, because A is in second period. So then we can also again we can apply the linear model where we have a carryover effect, that is carry B, and we found that the carryover effect is significant here. Although t-test is also significant for treatment, but we can see that the correlation is higher here between various variables, which may result in the spuriously high coefficients for the various variables here. But ANOVA will give the true results. So for ANOVA, that we found that the result is significant for period effect and a carryover effect. It is not significant for treatment effect. For same data using Python, in Python we will use this package stats model, and this is our same data. I have not changed the data here. The same data which we applied in R code for a continuous outcome. So this is our outcome variable response, which is continuous here. And this is the treatment variable. This is sequence variable. This is period variable. And this is how we apply the mixed linear model here. And these are the results. So we found that the p-value is significant for period here, and for sequence it is not significant for treatment, similar to the results from R coding. These are, we found that results are very similar. So treatment effects insignificant, period effect account for systematic difference between first and second periods due to learning curve, and sequence effect is also known as carryover effect. So this is how we estimate the treatment effect, period effect, and carryover effect using Python code. So this is all for today. Thank you very much.